I was like many other folks. I had an adjustable mortgage rate. I got into it at what initially was a pretty decent rate. I felt very comfortable that we could maintain that mortgage payment. And one day I'm trying to exercise, doing some sit-ups and push-ups, and when I made the transition from the sit-ups to the push-ups, I actually heard a pop in my shoulder followed with agonizing pain. And at that time I was actually unemployed, looking for another job. I actually had reconstructive shoulder surgery. Going through therapy and all of that, coupled with the loss of a job, actually mounted our financial situation, and that's kind of what put us in a position of getting behind in our mortgage payment. That coupled with what has been happening in the credit market, the housing market, everything just kind of snowballed. But that interest rate began to really affect us by going from what was a manageable number to double digits. It's somewhat embarrassing, and you don't know who to trust, and then the stress and the worry comes up with how am I going to protect the home.
People just don't get behind on their mortgages out of the blue. There's usually a precipitating factor. They've had an illness, their hours have been reduced at work, or maybe they've even been laid off. So there's a tremendous amount of stress on these families when they're looking at a potential foreclosure. That's why we want to treat this situation holistically and try to stay focused on keeping the family together and reestablishing financial stability.
One day I was out coming from an interview, and I heard about a program that gives support to struggling homeowners. And I called them, and they then put me in contact with an organization out of Atlanta, Consumer Credit Counseling Service. The credit counselor that I spoke to, I remember her vividly. Her name is Lisa Ray.
Herman gave us a call pretty much in distress. He was concerned because he was 2 months late on his mortgage, so he was calling for a foreclosure prevention session. He wasn't able to get the help that he wanted directly from the mortgage company. So after hearing about us and finding out about our services, gave us a call, and we took his budget. We broke it down into about 26 categories, which was very helpful for Mr. Newsom.
Showing a graph was great to say, you know what, saving $50 here, $100 there does help when you look at the end of the month and you've gone from saving $0 to saving $250 and shifting that $250 over to your mortgage. So that was extremely important.
After we went through his budget and helped him set that up in a way that he could actually move forward, we still realized he needed help. And what we did from that point is we looked at his situation, asked him who he had been talking to at his mortgage company, told him what options were actually available to him, and figured out from his situation that the best option would be a loan modification. In discussing and counseling with Mr. Newsom, we could look at his own personal situation, personalize it for the mortgage company, get that information to the mortgage company, ask for help from them for him, explain to him what to do and what steps to follow from that point forward, not only to get the modification, but also to set himself up to be successful in the future once he got the modification.
I did receive a call from my mortgage company. It was a gentleman from the loss mitigation department who told me that our loan was qualified for restructuring or modification, and I was extremely ecstatic. So we ended up saving about $800 a month. We have a fixed mortgage rate throughout the life of the loan, which was lower than what we initially had going into it.
We know a year after counseling that 80% of our clients are still in their homes and 69% of them have been totally untouched by foreclosure. I think it's important to remember that we're here for you. We're not here for the creditors. We're not here for anybody else. We're here for you.
What I valued the most was that I had a counseling representative that I could call or email and ask questions of. And she was willing to take the time and explain to me what the process was all about.
And that's what our folks do. They're here to listen and to help people work out of their problems. They're not going to judge you in any way. They're not going to judge any consumer for the problems that they find themselves in. We're focused on solutions, not on problems.
Education gives you that power and that control to make those decisions so that the mortgage company doesn't make them for you in the form of a foreclosure.
It's easier than what you think. It's not as difficult, it's not as embarrassing. So if it wasn't for Consumer Credit Counseling Service, I don't know where we'd be at today.